The idea for the business started with my own personal need, mine and my husband's, to have our children grow up in an environment that reflects their African heritage. You know, it was a very interesting and exciting time, because when you look at the gap in the market for children's lifestyle products, because we talk about books, t-shirts, and a whole bunch of other materials that reflect African heritage, the market is really big. We started with what was the simplest in terms of testing out the market and the response from what parents wanted. We started out with flashcards and puzzles because we wanted to test the response from a language perspective. But in the back of my mind, there was always the plan to create characters that children would respond to and reflect and respond to, like your Dora the Explorer and the Disney characters out there. Because with characters, one, it captures children visually, but two, it also takes them on a fun learning journey that engages all their senses. So from a storytelling point of view, from a visual point of view, and of course songs that come in. So what we did towards the end of 2010, we approached MTN to then pitch our idea and have them be our digital partner. And again, the nice thing with them was that it was going to be across all phones. So from your smartphones, your iPads and your Samsung phones, right through to the simplest of phones. And that way, what we were looking at was capturing your middle-class child right through to a child in a disadvantaged community who may have more of your more basic literacy needs that they need to address. We're really excited to be part of the Think Ahead iPad project. And what they're doing is getting local content onto iPads and then marketing and selling that into schools. So that's our first entry point into the app world. It is a baby step approach in the sense that it's not with all the bells and whistles, but it is a good way for us to test our content on a digital platform. Now with apps, how a child reacts to that, and they're just constantly playing, and for them it's just so intuitive. And also with mobile phones, they've just become such a ubiquitous tool in all of our lives. There are more cell phones in South Africa than there are people. And from a South African perspective, because it's such a new offering, there were also those challenges, just in terms of, one, trying to figure out how do we, as a South African content provider, make this relevant to our target market, and two, how do we, or who do we partner up with in terms of the development of these apps? There's a lot of expertise overseas, but we thought it was important that we find a local content developer, apps developer. One, just in terms of being able to engage and have that real life partnership, but two, just to also have the developer understand our context, so that you're not having to explain a lot of the things that you're like, okay, no, that's not going to work for our market, etc. From a day-to-day perspective as a business, I mean, we're constantly using technology. Whether it's just emailing one another back and forth, sharing files with one another. We use Dropbox, for example, quite extensively. As a small company, obviously, we don't have a server that you invest in. So for us, Dropbox has been a lifesaver in terms of sharing information. We also use Skype quite a bit. We actually have a meeting coming up now. We're going to Skype a colleague of mine in. And then, I think more just from a social media point of view, the likes of Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn have been really great from marketing what we do as a company, one, but two, also from a business development point of view. So for me, like, LinkedIn has worked really well to connect with people and actually get real business proposals and development. And when we look at our analytics for our website, there's just been a huge growth in terms of people that come through to us from Twitter. Digital has been great in the sense of making it easier to operate on a day-to-day basis, without a doubt. Communication, being able to respond to queries, and really just being a traveling office, if you may. That has been absolutely wonderful. The second wonderful thing about digital is instantly being global. We've had orders fulfilled from the UK, from France, from Sweden, and it's just due to digital and having that presence, be it our online shop or people getting onto our Facebook group. And it really, as cliche as it sounds, it just makes it, the global village that much smaller and accessible for a company like ours.